Okay, well, after commercially cutting for 29 years, I feel it's time for a field dressing video. So a lot of folks think you gotta have a lot of fancy tools. You don't. I've got my Gerber multi-tool. I'm gonna do it all with that. Won't take me just a few minutes. So I'm gonna use the serrated blade, but you don't have to. You can use whatever blade you want. And if it's got a saw blade on it, you can use that to saw the bone as well. This is the way that I've always done it. I've hunted my whole life. This is the way I like to do it. So with that, I'm gonna get the show on the road. I'll try not to go too fast so you can see what's going on. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the back end. I'm gonna try to stand him up the best I can. And this is a buck, so I'm gonna remove the male portions. This knife isn't the sharpest thing in the world, but I guess I should have sharpened it a little bit better. Normally, whenever you kill a buck, the first thing you do is cut the dorsal glands off. But I'm not talking about that today. I'm going to talk about the field dressing. So that's the area we're going to cover. You want to be really careful and not get into the paunch, because if you do, you're going to have a mess. You for sure don't want to cut yourself. That wouldn't be good at all. So, there we go. Now, I'm going to switch to a regular blade. I say all with the multi-tool. You don't have to have a lot of fancy tools. You can do it all with just a little bit. I do a little bit of a cross cut here just to expose what I need to expose. I use my two fingers to keep the knife blade up out of the paunch. And hopefully I won't mess up just because I'm on video. Kind of on the slope here, so it'll be facing towards the camera. Makes it a little bit harder to hold him up. But I wanted you to be able to see this deer is shot high shoulder, which is the way I like to shoot it, because as you're going to see here in just a minute, you don't damage the heart cavity so bad. Sometimes you'll blow out on the inside, but usually not. I'm going to cut him up all the way to his soft palate on his throat. And there we go. Now, I'm going to take my bone saw and I'll saw through the pelvis on the back end. You want to be sure to keep the entrails back out of the way. And there you go. Now I'm going to go to the rib cage and do the very same thing. And we're through that. Go back to my knife blade. Wish I'd have done a little bit better job sharpening, but I didn't. So, with that, I like to start back on the back end. Cut on each side of the pelvis. Removing the rectum. Like I said, this would have been just a little bit easier if I'd have sharpened my knife a little easier, a little more. I didn't, so we'll work with what we have. Okay. Now, I'm going to come up and I'm going to cut the diaphragm. Cut right along the ribs. Don't get down towards the vitals. Cut right along the ribs. Do the same thing on the other side. I see we do have some blood from this in this cavity, so we glue some ribs out on the inside. That's fine. I'm going to cut all the way up. Okay, now I've got that loose. I'm going to come back, and this is where a lot of people mess up. You want to be sure you don't get the tenderloins. Tenderloins are right here below my fingers. As you can see, it can be somewhat hindered by the blood. Here's a tenderloin here, one right on the other side. The entrails are attached in the middle as well. So with that, I want to just cut right in the middle. Don't get off to either side, because if you do, you're going to get the tenderloins. See, I'm just rolling that out to the front. Now you can see right here, shooting high shoulder, it went right through the spine. There's where it went through, right there, blew that vertebra out. This deer fell, didn't go anywhere. That's why I like the high shoulder. Okay, now I'm going to pull right up through his windpipe, right on out. Cut around that on each side of his neck. Took that all the way to his soft palate. Cut it off, there it is. Now that's a proper field dress job. And if you will hold on just a minute, I'll wash it. Obviously you don't have that in the field, but that way you can see exactly what it should look like on the inside. Okay, now I'm going to just kick him up. There you have a nice clean field dress job. Nothing's damaged. The only damage you have is what you have with the bullet. Thank you for watching.